Imagine standing on a windswept battlefield where the clash of steel and the thunder of hooves offer no mercy, yet at the forefront rides a woman in gleaming armor. Her voice unshaken, her cause unwavering, commanding respect in a world that sought to deny her strength. From desert queens to steppe horsewomen, history is punctuated by remarkable female warriors who defied societal norms, led armies, and reshaped empires with their courage and tactical genius. If you're fascinated by the untold sagas of extraordinary women who took up arms and altered the course of history, make sure to subscribe to History Facts and Mysteries. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an exploration of the past's most inspiring and enigmatic heroes, as we shine a light on their battles, their legacies, and the enduring power of their example. Warriors beyond gender. To appreciate the lives of historical female warriors, we must first challenge modern preconceptions about gender roles in combat. Warfare, often portrayed as an exclusively male domain, has in fact seen countless women step into martial roles, from defending their homelands against invaders to leading expansive military campaigns. These women negotiated patriarchal structures, sometimes using the very stereotypes of femininity to their advantage, dressing as men, invoking divine sanction, or commanding loyalty through charisma and counsel. Their choices compel us to reconsider what it meant to be a warrior. Was it defined solely by birth and training, or by the will to fight and the right to lead? By examining the lives of these women across eras and continents, we uncover the complex interplay of culture, religion, and personal ambition that allowed them to don armor, bear weapons, and earn their place in history's most brutal arenas. Ancient trailblazers, from Scythian archers to Egyptian queens. Long before medieval legends of shield maidens, ancient societies on the frontiers of empire recognized the martial abilities of women. In the vast Eurasian steppes, Scythian and Sarmatian tribes celebrated female horse archers whose agility and range terrified invading armies. Greek historians noted warrior princesses among the Massagetae, and archaeological burials have revealed women interred with quivers, composite bows, and battle axes, proof that these archers fought alongside men, not merely in myth. Farther south, in ancient Egypt, queens like Amenhotep I and Mernit wielded both political and military authority, rallying troops against foreign incursions and overseeing strategic fortresses along the Nile. Their decrees featured in hieroglyphic records, praising their valor and equating their deeds with those of male pharaohs. These early examples demonstrate that female martial leadership was not an anomaly but a recognized facet of certain warrior cultures, setting a precedent for women who would follow in their footsteps across the ancient world. Valkyries on the battlefield, Norse shield maidens and Celtic warriors. In the cold reaches of medieval Scandinavia and the misty isles of Britain and Ireland, legends speak of shield maidens, women who took up the sword and shield alongside Viking raiders and Celtic clansmen. Archaeological finds in Boudica and Hedeby include female skeletons buried with weapons and armor, suggesting that women fought in shield walls and longship boarding actions. Sagas recount the feats of warriors like Lagertha, who defended her homestead and earned respect from legendary chieftains, and Queen Boudica of the Iceni, whose guerrilla uprising against Rome raised Londinium before her death. Across the Irish Sea, the warrior Queen Maeve led armies in the Ulster cycle, her tactics of ambush and psychological warfare leaving an indelible mark on Gaelic storytelling. These narratives blend history and myth but converge on a single truth. In societies defined by valor and loyalty, women could, and did, prove themselves on the battlefield, their legacies echoing through sagas, songs, and etched stone. The Samurai Sword Maiden, Onna Bugeisha in feudal Japan. Feudal Japan's rigid samurai code might seem an unlikely arena for female warriors, yet the Onna Bugeisha, women trained in the martial arts, played critical roles during periods of upheaval. Trained in naginata warfare, battlefield strategy, and household defense, these women were responsible for protecting clan fortresses when male samurai were on campaign. Prominent figures like Tomoe Gozen, whose heroic stand at the Battle of Awazu in 1184 became the subject of war chronicles and poetry, embodied the samurai virtues of honor and loyalty. Beyond individual heroics, entire female-led networks organized supplies, set traps for advancing foes, and maintained morale among civilian populations in besieged castles. Their participation challenges the assumption that the samurai class was exclusively male, revealing a more nuanced social order in which women could rise to martial prominence under the banner of family honor and feudal duty. Maidens of the Steppes, Mongol horsewomen and Central Asian leaders. When Genghis Khan united the Mongol tribes in the early 13th century, he forged an empire on horseback in which mobility and archery were paramount, and women of the aristocratic clans proved vital to both. Princesses and cotton-class women managed the empire's logistics, breeding horses, organizing camps, and even leading foraging expeditions that secured supplies for marching armies. Some, like Sorgatani Beki, the mother of Kublai Khan, wielded immense political influence, guiding succession and diplomatic alliances while maintaining the martial traditions of their lineage. Nomadic culture did not forbid women from bearing arms. Indeed, many grew up riding alongside their brothers, mastering the recurve bow, and learning to negotiate harsh terrains. These skills, when combined with diplomatic acumen, enabled women of the Mongol steppe to command respect and authority both within their yurts and on the vast battlefields that reshaped Eurasia. Amazonian myths versus real warriors. Across the ancient Mediterranean, the legends of the Amazons, fierce women warriors said to dwell beyond the known world, captivated Greek imagination and fueled both fascination and fear of female martial prowess. Classical authors from Herodotus to Plutarch described Amazonian archers and horsewomen who fought in disciplined phalanxes, wielded bronze shields, and even sacked temples. Yet archaeological discoveries on the Eurasian steppes, Scythian and Sarmatian burial sites containing female skeletons equipped with high-quality weapons, horse trappings, and battle scars, suggest that these myths were rooted in real societies where women routinely trained for war. The Celts too celebrated Amazonian figures such as the warrior Kama, whose defiance of Roman suitors led to her tragic, heroic end. Queens in armor. In medieval Europe, a handful of royal women donned armor not merely as symbolic pageantry but to lead troops in pivotal battles. Joan of Arc remains the most celebrated, her divine visions propelling her to lift the siege of Orléans and turn the tide of the Hundred Years' War. Riding at the head of French forces clad in battered plate, she fused spiritual authority with military command, rallying soldiers who had long despaired of victory. Less famed but equally remarkable was Isabella of France, the she-wolf of France, who in 1328 raised armies to depose her husband Edward II and install her son Edward III. Her equestrian prowess and strategic alliances demonstrating that queens could wield the sword and the scepter in tandem. Other noblewomen, like Matilda of Tuscany in Italy and Blanche of Castile in France, managed fiefs, negotiated treaties, and marshaled troops during regencies or in defense of battered borders. Warrior saints and religious shields. Between hagiography and history lies a group of women venerated as warrior saints, figures who fused martial valor with spiritual mission. Theodora of Alexandria, a 5th-century ascetic, famously disguised herself as a monk to live among men, later defending her monastery from raiders. Her tale inspired the legend of Saint Marina of Antioch, who is depicted slaying a dragon. In the Byzantine world, Saint Olga of Kiev, avenging her husband's death, orchestrated fiery reprisals against the Drevlians before converting to Christianity and laying the groundwork for Kievan Russ's religious future. Saint Joan of Arc became not just a national heroine but a canonized saint, her martial victories inseparable from her holiness in the popular imagination. These women illustrate how, in times of crisis, the attributes of warrior and saint could merge, faith knit communities together, and women could become both spiritual protectors and military defenders, their swords as much instruments of divine justice as of earthly defense. The rise of female soldiers. Napoleonic wars to suffrage-era militias. By the late 18th and 19th centuries, institutional armies began to confront the question of women's participation more directly. During the Napoleonic Wars, countless women disguised themselves as men to enlist, serving in infantry, cavalry, and as military nurses close to the front lines. Some, like Deborah Sampson in the American Revolution, fought in pitched battles without their true gender ever discovered. In 19th-century Europe, orders such as the Russian Women's Battalion of Death in World War I formally incorporated women into military units, hoping to inspire morale and shore up manpower. Suffrage movements often intertwined with paramilitary training. The Women's Social and Political Union in Britain organized drills and mock battles to prepare for unrest and to challenge gender norms physically. These developments set precedents for the mass mobilization of women in World War II, where Soviet female snipers, pilots, and medics blurred the lines between combatant and caregiver, and paved the way for modern all-volunteer forces that now regularly deploy mixed-gender units. The evolution from mythic warrior queens to formalized female soldiers highlights the gradual transformation of societal attitudes toward women's roles in national defense. 20th century trailblazers, resistance fighters, pilots, and partisans. In the crucible of the two world wars, women's martial contributions reached unprecedented scale, from the snipers of the Eastern Front to the clandestine networks of occupied Europe. In the Soviet Union, Lyudmila Pavlichenko, nicknamed Lady Death, earned 309 confirmed kills as a Red Army sniper, her icy precision and fearlessness immortalized in wartime propaganda and memoirs. Meanwhile, across the English Channel, British Special Operations Executive, SO, agents such as Violette Sabo and Odette Sansom infiltrated Nazi-occupied France, organizing sabotage, guiding downed airmen to safety, and enduring torture without betraying their comrades. In the Pacific, women like Wing Commander Amy Johnson, one of the first female ferry pilots of the Air Transport Auxiliary, braved treacherous weather and inadequate instruments to deliver warplanes to frontline units. On the Balkan Peninsula, Yugoslav partisan leader Milunka Savic, already a decorated veteran of the Balkan Wars, led guerrilla ambushes against Axis supply convoys, collaborating with Tito's forces to liberate villages and disrupt enemy communications. These 20th century warriors redefined the boundaries of combat roles, demonstrating not just bravery but exceptional skill under fire, and laying groundwork for the integration of women into post-war militaries. Legacy and modern echoes. Women in today's armed forces and pop culture. The legacies of historical female warriors resonate in today's armed forces, where women now serve in virtually every combat role across militaries worldwide. From infantry platoons in Norway and Israel to submarine crews in the United Kingdom, modern armies have integrated women as soldiers, pilots, and special operations operators, guided by both legal mandates and evolving cultural attitudes. Leadership academies report that mixed-gender training enhances unit cohesion, with women officers often lauded for communication skills and crisis management. Beyond formal militaries, paramilitary and insurgent movements continue to see female fighters, illustrated by Kurdish YPJ brigades battling ISIS, where women's frontline service is both tactic and ideology, embodying feminist ideals of empowerment. In civilian life, martial arts schools highlight female champions in mixed-gender tournaments, emphasizing technique and agility over brute force. In popular culture, the Hollywood blockbuster Heroine, whether Wonder Woman storming no man's land or a space-faring captain commanding starships, draws lineage from Zenobia, Joan of Arc, and the Scythian horsewomen, reinforcing archetypes of female strength. Video games, comics, and streaming series increasingly center on women warriors who wield swords, guns, or superpowers, reflecting society's appetite for diverse role models. The tapestry of history is enriched by the deeds of women who picked up arms, donned armor, and led troops into battle. Figures whose courage and ingenuity defied the strictures of their times and expanded the horizons of what was deemed possible. From the Scythian archers of the Eurasian steppes to the resistance fighters of World War II, these warriors navigated political intrigue, societal bias, and mortal danger to protect their homelands and advance causes of sovereignty, justice, or survival. Their lives illuminate the fluidity of gender roles in martial contexts and remind us that leadership and valor are not confined by birth or biology, but by the strength of will and the clarity of purpose. As modern armed forces continue to integrate women into combat and command, and as popular culture embraces female heroes in every genre, the legacy of historical female warriors endures, challenging us to honor their stories, learn from their strategies, and carry forward their spirit of determination. If you've been inspired by these tales of indomitable women who shaped the course of history with sword and strategy, subscribe to History Facts and Mysteries for more deep dives into the past's most compelling figures. Share this video and join the conversation. Which female warrior's story moves you most? And how do you see her legacy echoed in our world today?